Good morning and welcome to Real Talk. I'm Claudia with Claudia's Door Decor, and today joining me is Nicole from Looking Glass Boutique. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. Go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know where you're located and where people can find you.
So, my name is Nicole, and I am the owner of Looking Glass Boutique on TikTok and Facebook. If you're looking for me as far as a website, I have a website. It is www.lookingglassattachments.com. And on Etsy, I am looking glass wreaths. I know that's a little, but sometimes domain names are really hard and people take them. So I had to do what I had to do. So,
All right, can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with Looking Glass? Because that is the common name throughout.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that name came about.
So I am a big Disney fan. I love Disney. It is just one of the things that I've always, one of my passions. I love going to Disney. I love the movies ever since I was young. I even have tattoos of Disney characters. I mean, I'm a big Disney fan. I wouldn't quite call myself a Disney adult. I don't go like, I don't have a season pass or anything, but I really love Disney. And so Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite characters. And so when I was trying to think of a name for my business, I that was just one thing that I was looking at, something, that kind of represented me, and I just really liked the looking glass. So, in Alice in Wonderland, the second book is, through the looking glass. And so that just was kind of my inspiration.
That's awesome. But here's my question because you said something, and as you know, my daughter is now a tattoo artist. So my question is, what tattoos do you have?
Well, it's hard to see this one, but this one is Belle, and you can see I don't know if I can tip
Yeah,
down
yeah,
my
we can see
camera.
her. Yep, we can see
Uh-huh.
her. Yeah.
And that's my Disney one that I have. I do have this one here. It's a sunflower, which is my favorite. And it says always as the stem. It's over my heart because this one was for my father. He passed away about 5 years ago, and it also represents, I'm a Harry Potter fan also. So it also represents um, him at Harry Potter. And then for the always, I don't know if you know much about Harry Potter, but that's part of and I also have some on my ankles, one on each
Okay,
ankle. One is a dog paw, and it says rescue underneath it.
okay.
That is a big part of my life also. We work with Mikey's Chance in our local area, which is a local fostering for dogs. And so
And
we
that's in
foster,
Washington State.
it's in Washington State. I'm from Washington State. Yes, I'm from Pasco, Washington. And we've, I think over 50 dogs we have fostered over the years. So
Wow.
yeah, and we have
Wow.
four of our own dogs right now, so we're not currently fostering. Um, but
I
we have
get
a
it
couple
though.
foster fails, is what we call them, because sometimes you just have to keep them. You just can't let them go. So, yeah, so that's kind of where my
And you missed the
tattoo.
other ankle. What's on the other ankle? You
The
have
other ankle is the first tattoo I ever got. It's a little
fair enough.
sun, and
Fair enough.
yeah, it was like there's a story to it. It was like 1999,
Okay.
New Year's Eve, 1999. So we're going
Okay.
into 2000. We know we had that Y2K, right? Everyone's so
Yep.
it
Yep.
was kind of a little crazy thing, but yeah, it doesn't really have much meaning. It's just something that I got.
Yeah, well, the first one never does, honestly. I mean, if you really think about it, the first one typically doesn't have any meaning, which is perfectly okay. We all have those. Well, not everybody, but when you have a tattoo, the first one usually doesn't have much of a meaning. But thank you for sharing that because I was curious. And your bell tattoo, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I
Oh,
love that.
thank
All
you.
right, so what is your professional and personal background outside of your business? And just give highlights because we are going to talk more about that
Okay.
as we go along.
Yeah, sure. So, I am an RN. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for, oh goodness, I think 16 years, maybe 17. And I am an avid crafter, obviously. And I love crafting, I love sewing. And I'm a mother, a wife. Those are pretty much my
Your
everything that I
titles.
do. My
Your
titles,
titles.
exactly.
All right, so let's talk about the wreath community. How did you first get involved in the wreath community here on TikTok?
So I'm pretty new to the wreath community. Like I said, I'm an avid crafter, and I love home decor. So when I was looking for some of my own home decor, I was looking on TikTok, and Facebook, and all the other places for some of just personal decor. And as a crafter, I don't know if most people do this, but I do. I'm like, I can make that. I can do that when I see it. And so I did purchase some, and then I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to try to make my own for my own home.
Okay.
And I did. I started crafting my own. But in October of last year is when I really started making wreaths for others, selling them to friends and family. Um, and I started going to, I previously sewn bags, like faux leather purses, bags. Sewing was a big part of my hobbies, and I would go to craft shows and sell my bags. Um, and so I decided, well, let's with the bags. I started selling wreaths with them, doing some craft shows, introducing my wreaths and centerpieces and home decor. And so that's how I kind of got into the wreath community.
So let's share what your first experience of wreath making was like. What did you use? What did you start with? We all share, some of us still have our first. So go ahead and share a little bit about that.
So at first, of course, I wanted to just get the cheapest stuff I could, just because I wasn't even sure if I was even gonna enjoy making home decor myself. And so I did start with some Dollar Tree and Hobby Lobby, those type of things. And and then eventually, but I did watch the wreath community a lot before I started, and so I kind of knew that those were lower level things, and so I pretty quickly learned that I needed to get a little bit more quality stuff.
So did you start with mesh?
I did mesh,
Okay.
and I didn't get into florals until later, just because
Okay.
to me they were just a little bit more difficult. So I started with mesh and ribbon, and then I actually found some signs, some metal signs that I thought were amazing. So I purchased some of those and was able to incorporate those around Christmas time. I did a lot around Christmas because I started in October, which is this, you're already into Christmas at that
You're
point.
already late.
Yes,
Yeah, by
yes.
October,
And
you're
so,
already late to the game.
but I did
So
want,
let me ask you this. How did you find and connect with the wreath community initially? Because you said you were watching people. So what platforms were you watching people on?
mostly TikTok. I noticed that there's a lot of, for live videos, TikTok was a lot, and then also Facebook. But not as
Okay.
many people do
Yes.
Facebook lives, but I did find more like Facebook groups and such that I kind of joined some groups, and so those were my two main areas that I've been. And I'm looking into YouTube. I watch YouTube videos and stuff like that too. So.
So when you were first starting out, what resources and mentors would you say really encouraged you?
I first started watching Max from MB Crafts. I also started watching Lindsay from Tarnation Creations and Courtney from Southern Owls. Those were the three. And then you, you were one of my inspirations also,
I appreciate you.
and so Claudia. So you guys were my main, and just watching TikToks, and because I noticed that you guys go live a lot more often, and so I started watching and learning, because even when you're not teaching on TikTok, most of the creators are teaching. They're explaining what they're doing, whether so it really did teach me a lot just to watch. So
All right, so now let's go from learning wreath making to then saying attachments. I think I have I think I have a skill in attachments. So after starting in the wreath community, you made a transition to creating wreath attachments. Can you share what inspired you to make the shift?
Well, like I said, being a crafty person, I love to craft. I love to create. And so I saw some attachments that others were using, and I did the same thing. I can do that, kind of. And so I made some for myself. And as I posted them and showed them to others in the wreath community, they got some people were very interested because I can sew. Sewing is one of my big hobbies, and I just have a knack for creating those types of attachments and little like I've always kind of been that way.
Is it
Uh,
the detail? Is it like the
yeah,
finite details? It's the little things, right?
it's the
I would
little
say that
things,
that
and
would
it's
be,
just
yeah.
yes, and what I see, I noticed with wreath making, it's a lot of colors and those kind of things, and I'm good at that, but that's not my strong suit. My strong suit is more like the little details and being able to create the little characters and stuff like that. So
So how has the transition been for you? Like what differences have you noticed in the creative process? Because
for
there is a
me,
big difference.
there is a big difference. It's been amazing for me. I think it's definitely. I love creating wreaths. I think my wreaths are beautiful, but I of course I didn't have time to really develop my wreath because I'm so new. I'm still learning. Everyone still learns, but it's been a really great opportunity for me. I think that it's uh, focused me more on where my skill set is. And so that is how I've really, advanced in it. And I'm doing amazing. I have really amazing clients that come back and want more, and they have recommendations, and they want, and I just love it. I love creating those kind of,
Okay, so
projects for
these are
people.
the, so you have people that come to you and want customized, right? They want to customize, they see something that you're making and they're like, Nicole, I would love this, but can you do this?
Yes. Yep.
Now, do you
So
find that it's challenging or do you find that you rise to the challenge when people do that?
I think I rise to the challenge. I mean, it is challenging some things but that's that's the fun of it too, is to be able to say, "Oh, I let me show you what I can do," and really, take what the people ask for and hopefully make it even better than what they are thinking and what they were wanting. And so,
So the reaction's been good. You've gotten positive feedback and
yes,
reactions to what
yes,
you can do. That's awesome. So
yes.
is this really taken off for you? Are you struggling? Like, where are you at in the process?
I'm I'm doing amazing. I'm so blessed. I feel just amazing. I started my Etsy store in April of this year, and I've had 85 sales on my Etsy
Yay!
store. So just to tell you that that's a good amount. I'm so blessed. I have right now, I think 17 pre-orders that I'm working on. So it's gonna get to the busy time of the year, and as we talked about before, wreath attachments. It's like even a season before the wreath maker season because I have to get.
Yeah, so she has to be 2 seasons ahead of us, at least minimum 2 seasons ahead of us, so that if we're doing things 3 to 4 months out, she's doing things 6 to 8 months out,
Yes,
if that makes any sense.
yes.
So, do you see yourself expanding in other types of products in the future?
I would love to. I really I see things, other types of signs and things that I would love to try and to expand to and have more products available. Definitely. I'm not sure when that's going to be. What I'd like to do this year, my goal for this year is just to continue to make, Christmas and get through this fourth quarter. And then once that's over and people are kind of done buying Christmas, and then at that point, I'm going to kind of reevaluate and see where I'm at. And I think next year will be even easier for me because I already kind of have because this is my first year, I already have that base of these are the attachments that I do, but I can add to them. Like, okay, now this year I'll add more products, more choices, more variety for people to be able to.
So, as a wreath maker, if somebody has an idea, a concept that they want to develop and they want to figure out, what is the process of reaching out to you as a wreath attachment maker? How long from talking about said design to actually getting that design? How long does that process take? Just to give somebody like a timeline, a realistic timeline.
So, it just depends. If you are like looking at my Etsy and you see like a Frankenstein, just for an example, that you really like, but you don't really like the colors, you want it to be a different color or different patterns on the fabric, then that is something that you would just email me through or message me through Etsy, message me through Facebook Messenger are the two best, just because for some reason, TikTok messaging is just not the greatest. They
It
just
gets lost. It's almost
it
like the
does.
comments get lost and you can't really keep up with
And
them. So I agree. Listen
yeah,
to what Nicole is saying. Etsy is a fantastic way to communicate with your creators. So if you are looking to communicate with somebody who has an Etsy store, please communicate that way. It's
yeah,
just the easiest way to
absolutely.
message. So
Yeah,
I
message me
I
there.
absolutely watched Nicole grow in the community. I have watched her when she first started out, when she first got interested in making attachments. I believe Lindsay was one of your first customers, if I'm not mistaken,
Mhm. Yes.
right? From Tarnation Creation. She was one of your first customers. And recently she has joined the Crafty Crew over on Discord. And through that, we have starting to roll out two attachments for her. One fall, which is a scarecrow, and then one Halloween that's a kitty pumpkin. So be on the lookout for that because we're doing this all month. But this is her design. These are her attachments that we are rolling out. So let's go into our next topic. If anybody has any questions at all about anything that Nicole does, please go ahead and ask the question in the chat and we will incorporate that, okay? Running a business while managing personal responsibilities can be quite a task. How do
Yes.
you balance your business with having, now you guys don't know this, but we're going to introduce this, a special needs child and dealing with your own health issues? How do you balance all of that?
Um, so just a little background. I I have two children. I have a son who's 26 and a daughter who's 23. My son who's 26, his name is Noah, and he is on the autism spectrum. And he's mid to high functioning in different areas. So, but he still does live home with us. We don't anticipate him ever being able to live on his own. If he does, it would be with a lot of support. But he does live with us, and so in some areas he's high functioning, and some he's a little less. So it just depends. He does need a lot of support from us on a daily basis, a lot of reminders, a lot of things that we have to still at even at 26, help him with. So being that um, I can work from home doing this is just a godsend because it really helps me be able to be here with him and still continue to support him in the ways that he needs on a daily basis. So that is an amazing to me, as a nurse, because most nurses can't work from home. It's not a really work at home type of profession.
Right.
So being able to still be creative, do things I love, and make some money on the side and be home with him is optimal. It's just what he needs. He needs support and someone with him most of the time. And then also I have some. I'm not actually working right now as an RN. I still have my license. It's been about 6 months since I haven't worked, just from my own health issues. I currently have some health issues. I do have cancer that I'm hoping to be in remission. That's the goal. We're almost there. I can't quite say it yet, but and I'm not going to really go into detail about like what it is and everything. If you want to know, you're more than happy just to message me, and I can give you a little bit more information. But just on the public platforms, I just don't really want to go into
Totally
details.
understand that. Totally
But
understand. And at the same time, as she said, these are all things that are her reality. It's her reality, it's her everyday life. And let's talk about the creative outlet though, how much that has meant to you, basically keeping your mental health while going through all your physical and obviously emotional, because raising a child on the spectrum, if you don't know what that is like, if you don't live that life, it's really hard to feel like people understand. People don't quite understand what that means and what they go through. And mind you, they're perfectly okay. I mean, you don't need to feel bad. You don't need to do any of those things. Just know that that is a reality and that's all it is. But creative outlet, talk about that and how much that has helped you.
well, for me, I mean, I've always been I need something to do with my hands, something to keep my mind busy. Or, I can get a little depressed. And I know that for myself. So, not working full time like I was before as a nurse, that keeps you real busy. But now, so I needed some kind of outlet. So, especially as my children grow, they don't need, my daughter lives on her own and, just empty nest syndrome, even though my son is here, but, I kind of decided to go towards crafting because that's always been a real passion of mine. And so it keeps me busy, it keeps me happy. I enjoy it. I mean, it is definitely a big part of my life. If you saw my craft room, you would be like, holy moly. Because
I think
I,
most of us are that way. We're like, don't look, don't
yeah,
look. It
right.
really is. It's managed chaos, guys. If you ever
Yes.
walk into somebody's craft room and it looks a disarray, understand that we know that how it looks to you, but we are so okay with it.
Yep. I know where everything's at, but no one
Right.
else can find anything.
Right. So somebody in the comments just asked if you set a specific time frame to craft.
I don't, just because of my health, and sometimes I feel better than others, and I'm real lucky in the fact that I don't have to work full time, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And so I can, if I'm feeling not as well in the morning, I can craft in the afternoon. So I don't really set a time aside at this point. I try to do as much as I can in a day, just because I do have a lot of orders that I'm getting out. But I enjoy it. It's not a hardship. I mean, so when I'm up and I'm feeling good, but I do work most days, and I don't even every day. I don't usually take. It's not like you have weekends off when you're a crafter, right? You still have
No,
to
and
get
that's the
yourself
funny thing.
time.
I say time isn't real. Like when
Mhm.
I get into my crafting area and I'm in the zone, time kind of isn't real. It doesn't exist. It's like I'm just working on this and it makes me happy. So, what are strategies and tips that you have found helpful in managing like that balance?
So as far as that goes, I have found that um, like just being, I'm trying to think. Sorry, my brain is not
Oh,
working.
you're okay.
So what I do is I just make sure that I am feeling as good as I can, that I am, you know, getting all my things done with the house and the child and my husband, and making sure that I have everything, and then I kind of go into my craft room, and I do, and I really feel like the craft room is for me. Like it's my fun time. It's my personal time to create and be creative, and just so that so really I just make sure that I'm focused on the things that have to get done, and then I I get to go play with all my craft supplies after that. So that's kind of what I do. So it's
Connie in the chat said people that come to my craft room just stand there with their mouth open and can't talk. But we understand that. And some people say that if a craft room is organized, don't trust it. All right. So you have a strong support system. Your husband is
Yes.
very, very supportive. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've been married for 27 years. We actually got married at 18 and 19. So we've been real young, been together basically our whole lives. And so he is amazing. He's just a big support to me and he loves to help me. So for instance, when I was, trying to get the big orders out, he'll be like, "How can I help?" And so he will cut fabric for me. He will, there's things he can do. I mean, it's a little
Oh
limited,
yeah.
but he will help as much as he can. And he also, helps. He's amazing. We're a partnership, and I hope everyone's relationship is like that, but ours is definitely a partnership. We take care of the house together, we take care of the animals together, it's not a you do this, I do this. It's we work
Right.
together. So
Right.
in every aspect. And so if I'm not feeling good, he'll definitely, take the brunt of it and do the more and vice versa. If he's out of town because he does travel with work, then it's kind of more up to me. But he's definitely my 100% support system.
I love that for you. So, how do you make time for self-care? What do you do for you outside of like working and the responsibilities that you take care of yourself? How do you do that?
I love to read. I'm an avid reader. It's another one of my things I love. And so when I have downtime or I'm just kind of like I need to just have some time to myself, I will read a book. I also love listening to books, audiobooks. And so either one of those, that's kind of what I love to do. Um, yeah, so that and I love I like to go out and just walk. We live right on the Columbia River, and walking by the river it's peaceful to me and it's just kind of like resets me. So,
So it resets you to be out in nature. That is your connecting point. Okay,
I
all
love
right.
it by the
So,
river. It's just beautiful and there's just all the trees. And, I live in Washington State, so we have
right.
we have great weather here. I don't live on Seattle area. The Seattle area's got a lot of rain, but where I'm at, we have a little bit more sunshine and it's just a beautiful area to reconnect. And like I said, sometimes I'll take my book out to the park, the park by the river and just read, kind of just, you know,
Reading to me,
center.
like, do you read books that are like mostly like take your imagination, like you can go into another world, like that you can just basically tap out for a bit and go into another world? I mean, I love that.
Yes, I like mostly right now I'm reading it's called Romantasy. It's like romantic fantasies.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it like fairies and all those type of really fun fantasy books that take you to a different world even than the one I don't I like thrillers also.
Now, what is a book that you would recommend for somebody to read? We're in summertime, and a lot of people are usually looking for, recommendations for a good book to read at the beach or on their vacation or whatever. Is there anything that you would recommend?
So I would recommend there's an author I really love. Her name is Sarah J. Maas. She's real popular. She is a fantasy. She does fantasy. It's called a romantasy. It's like romance fantasy. But the romance of it is mild.
Okay.
I mean, there's some romance you're like, whoa, but this is
Well,
a mild romance.
some romance, it's like, okay, I didn't need to think that way right now. Like, I
Yes,
don't need
it's
my
not
head
like
going
that.
there.
No,
That's
it's
not
mostly
comfortable for
fantasy.
me. I don't need to be thinking that. Look,
Yeah.
people are sitting there sharing their favorite authors now. I love that because we can actually pick up and find a new author by sharing the things that we like to read. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Does anybody have
Yes.
any questions in the chat for Nicole based on the things that we have just talked about? Because if not, we're going to go into a little bit about her career as an RN a little bit. So just ask the questions as they come, guys. Okay. So alongside your business, you also work as an RN. How does your career as an RN influence your work with Looking Glass Boutique?
So, just as an RN, you have to be organized, you have to, be on task. Being an RN is very rewarding, extremely rewarding career, but it's also, it can be difficult, and it can be something that you need to, you need to have your list, you need to be doing what you need to be doing on time, getting those meds, getting those things for people, because I mean, especially if you work in the hospital, I mean, you have really sick patients. So it's really helped me in that way with running a business. It really helps me to know, I need to get this done by this time. I need to make my list. I need to be following, my guidelines, and know that this is what I need to get done, and being more productive. So that's how it's really helped me. I mean, just in the grand scheme of things, I just think being an RN, I have a lot of compassion, and a lot of, just, it's made me just a better person, all in all.
Does it
In
make
my
you more patient? Does it make you more patient? Like when you're creating something, do you have more patience even with
I think so.
yourself?
I have patience. Yeah, I have a lot of patience, and it does stem, some from being in that career. I mean, you have to you have to have that type of personality, or it's never going to work. I mean, it's very demanding, but it's also very rewarding, where you get to help people. I mean, who can say I saved that person's life? I can say that I
Because that's
saved
that's
people's
quite
life.
literally what you have in your hands. I mean, this is a life or death situation that you're dealing with the timing of things and everything that you have to do as a nurse. Now, Shauna in the comments asked, what type of nursing did you do?
So, I've been a nurse for about 17 years. And so, in the beginning, I worked in the hospital. I worked mostly in pediatrics, and so pediatrics in the hospital. And I also worked, it's called a joint center. So, it's people who have elective joint surgeries, like hip, knees. I worked for that for a while, just mostly in the hospital. And then for the past 5 years, I actually was working in a doctor's office. I kind of got tired of the night shift, 12-hour shifts at the hospital, and I was like, I think I need a change. So I started working for a primary care doctor's office. I had, four pediatricians and some general practitioners that I worked with. I was a triage nurse. So I don't know if, this in Washington State, I'm not sure if it works the same for it, but if you have like a concern or an issue, you call your doctor's office and you want to talk to the nurse. I would be the nurse that you would talk to. If you have questions about, hey, my kid has a fever, what do I do? I mean, just 100,000 different things I can think of. But so I would be, and I also did a lot of education at that point. I did a lot of diabetes education, self-injection education. So if someone need to give themselves medicine, I teach them how to give it to themselves, like injections. I did a lot of, vaccinations for kiddos, catching them up, adults. So I mean, it's a lot, whatever you do in a doctor's office.
Yeah, so she was, so I understand that, like the nurse that you call when you speak to a nurse, when it prompts you, do you want to speak to the nurse? That would be you. You would be the nurse that we would be talking to at a doctor's office. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, somebody in the chat actually asked, what is your favorite attachment that you've made to date? Do you see the look on her face? I already know. I already know because each attachment that Nicole has made is
I'm going
she's
to show you
always
this
come
one.
up with the
This is
next,
one
like the
of my
next. This is
favorites.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
See,
it's a rabbit. It's coming out of a truck. I think it's just so cute. And this is the side view. I'm going to show you. Look at the little wheels. They've got the white walls. But this is one
is
of my
that
favorites.
heavy? Is that
No,
actually a heavy attachment? No.
none of them are
The
real
thing, the
heavy.
thing with that, the thing with that as an attachment, and you guys saw the size of it, right? You guys saw how large it was. What would you recommend somebody use to put that in?
It could be used. It's not as large as like the scarecrow. It can be
Scarecrow's
used.
bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm winner. I'm winner, winner, chicken dinner because I
It's more
that that
square.
was that was
And
that was
so,
stretching me. That was stretching me. So
yeah,
okay,
the
all
scarecrow is
right.
very long. I mean,
Yes.
this is probably
Here,
about
see.
20 inches square,
Okay.
I would say. So you can put it in evergreen. Um, I wouldn't put it on it. Most attachments usually don't go on grapevines. I mean, you could try, but
So Shauna just asked if there's a Christmas truck coming.
You know what? That is actually, yes. I'm going to be doing that. I don't know if I'm not sure if this will be a bunny, but it'll be something a little bit different.
Well,
Because,
it's because of course you showed the truck, so of course as
yes,
wreath
red.
makers, we instantly go, okay, it'd be really cute. It'd be really cute. There'd be a really cute. See, look, yay, sign me up. I'm telling you, this is this is where inspiration comes from, right?
Yes.
So, what other things that you experienced in your day to day actually inspire you to make a design or to create a design?
So I guess, most of the time it is just what I like. That's how I kind of start, you know what I mean? I love little trucks, those old time trucks, and so I look at that and I think, okay, well, let's see if what I can do with this. How can I make this? And there's sometimes when if I'm having trouble with my creative, juices, I will go on to I have some Facebook groups that have amazing designers, and I'll kind of look through their designs and get inspiration from them. And that's what they're there for. It's not like I'm stealing their designs. Actually, with wreath attachments, it's a little bit different, than the wreath community. So they actually, there's actually designers for attachments that put their designs out there so people can make them and sell them. And that's the purpose of it.
And
So
you're also part of a group, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
yes, I'm a part of a couple groups. So Derica Designs is one of them. She's a really great designer. So and she's got a lot of different attachments. She's been doing it for 10 years, and so I pull inspiration for her. There's one called the Happy Herd or Knock Your Socks Off Designs. It's the same thing. Those are the two main ones that I get my design ideas. She made the monster. That she was the Knock Your Socks Off is the main designer of the monster. Obviously, you take what they make and you put your own spin on it, you know.
Right, right.
But um, that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. Also, is I kind of come up with ooh, or sometimes we'll mention like a truck, right? And then I'll be okay. I can if I can't come up with how am
Well,
I
it's
going to
that
do this?
concept, right? It's you've got the main concept. Like the minute you put up that bunny, all of a sudden my comments changed to, ooh, Christmas truck. And then the same person said, ooh, winter truck with snowflakes. I mean, the ideas can just pile on and on and on, but it's having that base for the concept. Now, how would you recommend somebody who's interested in learning how to do attachments? What do you suggest that they do?
So, as I mentioned on Derica's Designs, I think is the best place to start. She has no sew, simpler designs. She has more advanced ones too, but she has simpler ones that, and you can purchase one of her patterns. So it's easy. You literally print out the pattern, and she has a video that's going to explain detail, step by step on how to make that pattern. That is how I started, and I think that especially if you don't sew, you don't have to be able to sew to make an attachment. I mean, you can
Right.
glue it all together. But so that's where I would start if you're looking for, and that is one of my goals for the next, when I look at myself in the next couple of years, where do I want to be with this business? And be creating, using my creativity and making my own patterns. And I do make my own patterns, but and actually sharing them with the community, kind of like those ladies do, is something
Right.
that I definitely see in my future, being able to not only just create for myself, but help other people create.
Right. And that's a good goal to have, especially when you're enjoying what you're doing. And so many people like they understand the concept, but then making it happen because there's a lot of pieces. Like you don't even realize what goes into making an attachment until you watch somebody make an attachment. In the comments, Misty of Little Luxuries asked, what has been the toughest attachment you have made to date?
Um, So it was, I guess I would say for attachments, I would say um, the toughest one, just ones that have, it's not really tough, it just has a lot of
Pieces.
parts to it. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
long, takes a
Yep.
longer time, and so none of them are really like tough, but I would definitely say like the more difficult ones are um, like the truck and some of the ones that take a lot of time to in a lot of different parts. I also have made um, oh like a what was it just some bunnies and some things that were just way more like a big bunny head, and he was giant and it took a lot of time. So I would say those are probably the hardest. As far as like the most difficult thing I've ever made is more the giant centerpiece I made, and it was very difficult because it was it's a egg car. It had a bunny in it, and it's huge, and that took me days and days to make. But yeah.
All right, so some questions from the comments. What attachment or theme are you looking forward to next? I already know the answer.
So, right now, my next attachment that I'm working on is a gingerbread man. He's got a chef's hat on, which is kind of cute, little arms and little legs, but his body is going to be a candy. So, like a candy cane, not candy cane, but what are those? You know,
So it's going to
swirly
be a
things.
gingerbread candy man with a chef's
Yes.
hat. So
Yeah.
how awesome is that? So another question from the chat. Any attachments that you have finished and said never again?
Not attachments, but that bunny thing I told you that took me days and days, I would never attempt that again.
I
I'm
hear
not,
you.
not that it's very cute, but it's heavy. There's no way I could even ship the thing.
Right.
So it's something that
But
I
but
made for myself, but it
but
was,
based on your experience on making that, I am so sure that you can create something not similar but bunny-like that is maybe not so extreme or intense or involved that you can create something different but still have a bunny face,
for
right?
sure. Yeah, yeah. And just being able to create every time I create something new, I learn something new techniques, new ways to adhere, or just every how to get the fabric to wrap around better and not look there's a lot of technique going into making
Well,
these
and
things.
that's the thing though, is there is a lot involved in attachment making. I have watched I have watched several wreath makers start making small attachments for themselves, right? Yeah, that would be great. I would love to see how I could sit down and do something like that. But honestly, if I'm 1000% honest, if there's not enough satisfaction for me as a creative person in all the little nuances, like it has to be perfectly flat, the perfect fold, the tuck, the that would drive me absolutely crazy. You would not see me happy doing that. I would be not happy. So I am so grateful, so thankful that there are individuals as yourself that do find pleasure in all those like the tiny minute nuances. Like I looked at the scarecrow and I'm looking at all the details, guys, all the border design that was added. I'm like, I know that was all added by hand. I know that, this was sewn. I know. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, that's not a Claudia thing. We're going to leave that to the attachment professionals and I'm going to keep my sanity. Period. That's just what's going to happen. I'm going to keep my sanity. But here's the thing. So in nursing, we're talking dual brain here, okay? In nursing and in business, a lot of what you have done and been trained for the 16 years that you have been in nursing has benefited you with your business, in your scheduling, in your creativity, in all of those things. What would you say for you right now is something that is a challenge that you're still trying to figure out?
I mean, I have, in my opinion, you learn something new every day and all the time. I mean, no one's ever perfect. I'll never be perfect. And so I think just the challenge is to keep challenging myself and keep, you know, doing what I'm doing, but do it even better and learning and creating and making new, you know, um, a lot of wreath makers don't want the same exact thing as all the other wreath makers. They want something different. And so I think a challenge right now too is coming up with things that are different, that aren't the same as everyone else has. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that's making it so that their customers will want it, but it being different. Does that make sense? So putting those two things
Absolutely.
together is probably a challenge for us attachment makers, just because we want we want it to be popular. We want everyone to want it, but we also want it to be different. So those are kind of the challenges that
Right,
I.
and that's understandable, and that's why you say that, hey, if there's something that I can do with my attachment, with something I already have made, and maybe tweak it more to what you like. You mentioned the Frankenstein. If
Mhm.
somebody wants a different pattern or something different, like I think, did you make one with eyeball tie? Did I see one with an eyeball tie?
Yes, it has an eyeball shirt, and that was for a customer that asked because they have the eyeball ribbon. So they wanted to
Right.
match. And so they said, hey, I have this ribbon, which I love. If someone shows me a picture of a ribbon, and then I can send, and what I like to do is I'll take a picture of the fabric that I have available, and I'll say, what about this? What about this? So I'll give them a ton of different options, and then they can choose from. And then if they don't find something they like, I can always go online and we can look there and try to find something that will match their ribbon or match the concept that they're looking for. So I really love doing
Do you
that
find
because
that's easier? Do you find it's easier if somebody says, I'm trying to match this, and they show you what they're trying to match?
absolutely, absolutely. Especially with the monsters right now, I have quite a few monster pre-orders that I'm working on, and so and I'm making them custom. So basically, I will contact them, the purchaser, and say, "Hey, okay, it's your turn for the monster. Here's the fur colors I have available, and which I have quite a few, most of them. And here's all of so pick your fur color first, and then I'll go, okay, here's, some of them are like, I just want one to match exactly what this one looks like that you made previously. Perfect, I can do that. But other people want to customize it. They want a certain color, they want a certain fabric for the legs and arms. And so I will send them all the pictures of all the fabric that I have that would, obviously match that fur color. And then we'll go from there. If they don't find something that they like, or if they have a different color in mind, then I'll say, okay, well, I can get this color fur. It just might take me, I'll have to order it. So just that's how it kind of works, and then they pick what they want, and then but I still have creative, like, they'll say I want these fabrics, but I'll also like I'll pick out the ribbon, the bow, and stuff like that, and
The
then a lot of them I'll
details.
say, yeah, I can pick out the little details. They just pick out the main colors and what they want. Um,
Right. So, and that goes from idea to concept, right? Because you have to start with the idea to get all the way to concept. Now, let's say somebody comes to you, basically they are a metal sign creator. We're just going to put it out there. They are a metal sign creator. They are going to create signs, and they're going to create signs that maybe need an attachment to go with it. Like we've seen it happen on a couple of people that have created, and I'm going to say Creek Road Design has been really good about that. They'd say, "Hey, I want to do something." Like with Needy, it was the patriotic sign with the ice cream cone. If a company was to approach you, if a metal sign creator was to approach you and said, "Hey, we've got this sign. Could you create an attachment to go with it?" What is going to be your answer to that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
She's like, "Yep,
I would love
yep,
to.
sign me up."
And actually, I've had customers actually send me a picture of a sign,
Right.
and say, hey, I want a witch that matches this sign. Absolutely. So they didn't pick out the fabrics, but I can say, okay, it has, Harlequin on the sign. So I get Harlequin black and white, you know what I mean? And incorporate it. I just make it match as good as you know, as I can. And I've never had anyone be disappointed. So yeah, if they have a sign that, or even if a customer has a sign that they want to match, definitely send me a picture. A picture is perfect, and that way I can say, okay, and I can also, like I said, I'll get fabric together. That's a lot of what I'll do is I'll put fabrics together, take a picture, send it over. What do you think of these?
Right.
I have,
And but you're actually one of the wreath makers that actually does incorporate clay, right?
yes. Yep, I do clay. A lot of them like noses, lips, like on the Frankenstein, the eye, you know, and
The
those kind
forehead.
of
Is it the
forehead, yeah, like the
forehead?
eye, forehead.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all made of clay. It's like a soft clay. I also I would love to do more clay work. Like I said, once the busy season's over for me, maybe that's something that I can look into getting a little bit better at. Because I mean, some people make amazing foam clay creations that are just out of this world. So that is definitely something I'd love to get a little bit more familiar with and and get a little more details.
So here's another question. When you are getting the pieces or figuring out all the pieces to make your attachment, do you have a specific provider that you go to that you can buy all of the materials for your designs?
I don't. And that's what's a big difference between attachment making and wreath making. Obviously, the supplies are completely different, and you need a lot of different supplies to make these attachments because you need all the different trims. All of them are going to be a little different. Paint, I paint a lot. Um, so we need a ton of different color of paints, paintbrushes, those kind of things that as a wreath maker, obviously you don't need those things. So as I'm making more, getting more designs made, I get more, of my product. And so I'm building a stash. As if my craft room needs more stuff, but I'm building a stash of
No,
things that
but that's the reality of it. There's always going to be something else, right? There's always going to be something else. So with wreath making, we have the option to watch so many different people that we have access to either on this platform or other social media platforms. The groups that you guys belong to, you guys can't really make those for other people to watch. Can you share about that?
So the big thing about it is especially if you're using somebody else's design. Let's say even if you're putting your own spin on it, you're still using someone else's pattern. So if I'm using, let's say, Pam from Knock Your Socks Off, the monster, you can't really go live and make that because that is not my pattern to be putting on a live and showing people. I mean, the point is to show people how to make it if you're going to, but I can't do that because that is her, she sells that. Does that make sense? So that's her design. Like, even though I'm putting my own spin on it, it's not mine to put out there. But for instance, like the kitty pumpkin, that's my design. I came up with that for myself. So I could go live and show people how to make that. So that's the big difference is if you're making your own patterns and it's your own idea, um, then yes, you can go live, show everyone how to do it. That's, you know, part of, but if you are taking inspiration from somebody else, absolutely not, because that's showing other people how to make this pattern, to make their product and that's how
But
they
that
make
but
it.
that would be the reason why, because I know that a lot of people ask, why can't we watch somebody making this like we watch the wreath makers make their stuff? But that is the reason why. See, Derica just said in the comments, create your patterns and then sell them.
Yeah, and that's what Derica
Sell
does,
them.
and that's why she's amazing. That's what my goal is.
So
So,
Derica, who is now in the chat, guys, Derica's designs. If you are a person who wants to learn how to make attachments, Derica does no-sew attachments in her group. That is who we recommend that you learn from. Now, Nicole shared that she has easy to follow patterns. That is Derica's MO. She's been doing this for a long time. If you are a creator that wants to learn, that is a perfect place to learn is with Derica of Derica's Design. So, and we get that question. Like we know because we are on Discord together that that is something that people have started wanting to learn. They're like, I want to learn how to make attachments. So the way to do that is to be part of the groups that are doing the attachments so that you can learn. Now, mind you, you're not going to, like I said, you're not going to find, like when you're scrolling through, you're not going to find a lot of people that create attachments so that you can watch them do it. But the people that are doing it, for instance, the first person that came to mind for me was Mary of Wild Zinnia. She makes her own patterns. That is why she creates attachments that you can watch make. So if you are a person that doesn't know if you want to make attachments, go watch Mary. She goes live, watch her make her attachments. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So Michelle of Creek Road Designs asks, what is your favorite season to design attachments for?
My favorite season, just in general, is fall, Halloween. So I am having a blast right now making all of these fall Halloween designs. And I'm just loving it. So, I mean, Christmas is a second, but just me, myself, I love fall, just the beauty of it. And then Halloween has just always been one of my things. I love witches and all the scary stuff. So,
Is that does that spark most of your creativity? Is your love for the Halloween fall season? Is that how like that excites you to create for that?
definitely. And there's some things I've thought of maybe, incorporating or coming up with as far as a design, but I'm just, like, I don't know if we discussed it before, like, you have to kind of my audience. You know what I mean? The people who are my purchaser, people who are buying, because I like scary stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind making like a, Freddy Krueger or a scary bloody,
You
but I
guys
don't know
heard
if
it
that would
here. You
sell.
guys heard it here. You guys heard it here. If you are one of those people that like the spooky, that like creating for the spooky, and you have those customers that will buy from you the spooky and the scary,
I'm
that's
sure
your
there are
girl.
some people, but it's
No,
just
there
not a
are.
big.
Look, we just had look at that look. Yes, yes. I'm telling nurses are big morbid sometimes, a bit morbid. I'm telling you. But that count me in. Look, see, so you do have
Oh,
an
good.
audience. You just need to let people know that that's a willingness of yours, that you're willing to create for that customer, for that person. Because I'm telling you, the sky is the limit. I'm gonna say, oh, Mary says she'll send them your way. Um, but that's the thing. When you know that you have an audience that you know that you can create for, the with attachments and for all you wreath makers, with attachments, the sky's the limit to what you can create. The sky is the limit to what you can make and what you can create. So the only person that is kind of making you like into a funnel and narrowing what you can create is you. So talk to these people that do make these creations because you have Nicole Looking Glass Boutique, you have Mary Wild Zinnias, you have Derek of Derek Designs. If you have something that you think that you need, reach out to these people. The first person I thought of when you were talking about, and Lindsay, don't take this the wrong way. Hear what I'm saying. When you talked about making something spooky or whatever, and I'm like, oh, romanticize it a bit. And I think Lindsay will make a beautiful creation out of whatever you make
You can take
because
a paper bag and make a beautiful
she's like
wreath,
a
right?
yeah, she's like a romantic. I mean, think of the skeletons that she worked with the skeletons that were dressed up in the Victorian type, setting, and she made gorgeous wreaths out of those. But that's what I'm saying. So the limit of your imagination is only limited by you. So let your imagination flow and definitely collaborate with some of these wonderful wreath attachment makers, the sign creators, the people that make signs, collaborate with these people. Let that creativity flow. So you don't even know. You don't even know what is available or what you can make if you don't like share what you're looking for. She would like to make, I heard Freddy Krueger, I think I heard her say. I think I
That was just an
heard that.
example.
Yeah, but imagine, and the first thing that came to my mind, and I don't know if anybody else got freaked out by this, but Edward Scissorhands kind of came to mind, with so I'm like, but that would be dangerous to hold. So be sure that you are insured.
It would not be real.
Oh my. So Katniss is letting her creativity shine. And she's like, speaking of skeletons, how about a skull lady or a zombie gingerbread?
That's fun. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely. That's what I like
Now,
in
is that
stories.
something that you'd say, Katniss? Put your money where your mouth is. I need a deposit.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, if you are interested in something like that, if you really want to make it, I am more than happy, and we can work together, which I love. I can show you what I can do, and I mean, there are some limitations of what you can put on a wreath, right? Size is one of them. Weight, you know what I mean? I can't give you a 20-pound thing to put on your wreath. So,
Right?
we
No,
have
that
there
wouldn't
are
go
some
over
limitations.
well. So here's Katniss already saying, "I'll take a Freddy," and then of course Brooke pipes in with, "I was going to ask if she did or would do it like a Freddy or a Jason," and I'm
Yes.
like, "What you do have to be careful of," and I'm going to say this is, and I don't know if it's different for wreath makers, and Derica might be able to speak more into that, but you do have to make it different than the original. Like it cannot
Yes.
be exactly like it can be inspired by
Yes.
those characters, but it can't be that character. We don't want to get anybody in trouble with copyright. Guys, copyright is a serious,
Mhm.
serious thing. So you do have to be very careful as to what you make. So, yes, she can do creepy, but maybe not necessarily the
That
character.
character, it'd have to be
Right,
different.
right. So, and I'm saying that because that protects everybody,
Yes,
not
yes, for
just
sure.
protects everybody, because we don't want anybody getting in trouble. Well, Claudia said, no, 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 no. It can be
Yeah, no
inspired
green
by.
guys. No.
It can be Freddie's cousin Teddy. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I
Right.
mean? That it can be that. It maybe it's not Jason, maybe it's Shane. That type of thing.
Shane.
So, yeah, it's because we do know of several people that have shared their story of getting
Hmm.
busted for copyright. And let me tell you something, guys, you don't want those fines. You don't want to be shut down. You don't want to be Etsy just shuts down your store and that's it. There's no negotiating. There's none of that. It's you're done. You're done. Um they're not going to keep you open if you're doing things that are going to cause you to get in trouble as well as Etsy. So just know that you can't do that. See, Derica's raising her hand. And I won't share Derica's story, but she is well aware of being fined. And you do not want that. So stay away from anything. I think Derica said that anything that can be recognized as blank, a brand, just know that that's a no. That is highly not going to do well for you. So that is what my disclaimer is. If anybody has any more additional questions based on that, talk to a lawyer. Just talk to a lawyer. Talk to a professional. I am not a professional lawyer. I'm a professional talker. Like I like to talk, therefore I'm a professional at it. All right, so something else that Nicole and I wanted to talk about, and this is going to get like an aha moment for a lot of you, is because we are all so connected, um, we are all in different places. So the time zones are very different. For example, right now it's 12 for me and it's 10, right? 10 for Nicole. She had to get on here at 9 when I was getting on here at 11, right? Is that how
Yes.
that worked? Right. So time zones on this platform can be very interesting because when we're winding down for the evening, they're ramping up for their evening. So talk about a little bit about how challenging the time zones are for you.
Well, especially like obviously East Coast to West Coast. So I'm on the West Coast in Washington State. And so if someone's on the East Coast and they're doing, an evening live, it's usually like middle of the afternoon for me. Um, as a stay-at-home business, I can do afternoon lives, but it is more challenging. It's not like I'm winding down, hanging out, can watch a live. It's in the middle of my day, so it can be a challenge. And I understand it's the opposite for the people on the East Coast. It's late for them by the time anyone from the West Coast wants to go live. So it's a big challenge. Also a big challenge is not even just the time zones, but just areas of the country that just are different. Obviously, each state, we have a giant country, so every region is different as far as like how they decorate, what their preference between South, Northeast, Pacific Northwest. I've just noticed in the Pacific Northwest, um, it's just not as a big market for wreath making, home decor. I mean, there is, but it's not as big as like the South. I see these ladies that live like in Georgia and Texas and stuff, and they make these giant, beautiful wreaths, and they can, people eat them up. But I just know that that's just not something that I could do here in the Pacific Northwest that would be, people aren't going to really want it. So you kind of have to go on your region too, like what you can sell, what you can. So yeah, so that's kind of another challenge is just, making sure that what you're making and what you're doing is going to be able to sell and be able to people want in your area.
Right. And Derek actually asked, basically, your shipping costs must be higher.
Yeah, it's hard to ship from Washington State to, the East Coast it's expensive. So yeah, so I've done a little bit of adjusting with that. When I first started, I was doing free shipping, which I love doing free shipping, but I was eating so much of the shipping costs. So now I'm doing more of a calculated shipping. I'm trying to keep it as low as I can, the price as low as I can, so that the shipping doesn't, deter people from ordering. But when you basically sell something for $40 and it costs you $25 to ship it. You know,
But
I
that's
don't
the
even make back
reality of
what
it.
I use in supplies.
Right, but that right there is the reality of it, and as to why maybe you're thinking, oh, that wreath attachment is expensive, fill in the blank or whatever, and you're thinking, there's a lot more to it than you think. There's a lot more to it than what you think. And if you aren't a person that knows like everything that goes into not only making it, the time it takes, the shipping, it's all incorporated. It's all incorporated. And you have nothing's free, guys. Let me just put that out there. There's no such thing as free. Somebody's paying for it, right? Whether it be the person that's shipping it, whether the price is incorporated into the price of the item. You have to understand nothing is free. It's not like, hey, UPS is all of a sudden letting you just ship for free. That doesn't work that way. It
Mhm.
just doesn't work that way. So be mindful. Be mindful of that when you're asking somebody, what the price for something is. Save up for it. It's worth it, I promise. Just save up for it. You will be happy. Now here's the other thing. Um, what did Mary say? I try and make my attachments the size that fits in shipping boxes envelopes. Now there's something to think about because an attachment that will look good on a wreath doesn't necessarily have to be
Mhm.
the scarecrow.
Yeah, and I'm actually offering some smaller ones right now. I'm making
Yeah,
the monster pops, like little popsicle monsters.
yeah,
So, and those are available on my Etsy. And they're smaller. They're more cost efficient.
right.
and they still be cute if you got like a sign and stick them, I think that's what a lot of people are doing. So I'm actually being mindful of that also and trying to not create the giant. I mean, I love the giant ones. I think they're beautiful, but they are expensive to ship, like you say. They are, um, and they are also, obviously more expensive to make. So
Right, right. So all of these things are good to know, not only for those that are buying, shopping, shipping. Just understand that there is a process to it. There is a process and a method to the madness, if you want to put it that way, because we are trying to be in business, right? That's the point. So you need to be able to recoup what your expenses are as well as overhead. And remember, she is a student of her craft too. She's investing in her business. She is part of groups. She is paying for knowledge. So these are all things that go into the making of a business. So I get it's overwhelming. Totally understand that it's overwhelming. But when you figure out that, hey, I do like this. I can make this work. I want to figure it out. That's when you start saying, okay, I need steps. I need to know where to look, where to go, how to do, right? So, in your process, because you said April, right? Around April you started.
my
Okay.
Etsy shop. Hmm.
What have been the key things that you have done to get you from starting your Etsy to 86 sales on Etsy? What steps did you take?
So I've just been really involved in the wreath community. I've tried to be on lives, communicating. I mean, just watching it, honestly, it's great. I mean, obviously they want you to watch it, but we also want to be involved in the chat and involved with the people, get to know these ladies and gentlemen, um, more on a personal level. I mean, not obviously super personal, but get them to know more, talk to them, and so I like to do that. I like to be involved in the lives that I'm on. That's how I started to really get involved. And then I moved on to when I started making more attachments, um, I sent I was just like, hey, can I send you an attachment, that I made to I know one of the more um, popular, I guess you would say, wreath makers, and just, can I send it to you? And if you want to use it, or if you do use it, just maybe mention my name. I did that for a couple, just I think two people, but just asking, and so they were like, yeah, I'd love to. So because everyone there's such support here. It's out of control. It's so amazing. And so I said that was one thing that I did, and then that got me a lot of recognition because people watch their lives and like, oh, I really like that. Because you don't realize how many wreath makers are watching the wreath makers, right?
No, actually, you do.
So,
Actually, we are well aware of that. I mean, everybody's aware of who's watching them, obviously, because of the questions, right?
mhm.
Look at this. People love free pretties, but it's strategic, guys. Listen to
Yes.
what she's saying. It's marketing, marketing at its best, Michelle just said, because Nicole put herself out there. She's like, you know what? If, and I know who you did it with because I was there when it happened, and I'm like, ooh, who's Nicole, right? But I
Mhm.
understand. So she chose somebody that she knew other wreath makers watched and said, hey, I'm gonna send you something. If you like it, fantastic. But there was no, it was like risk and reward, right? So
Mhm.
the only thing that she was risking is showing her item to somebody. It was up to that individual whether or not they wanted to promote it or not.
Mhm.
That's the difference, right?
Yeah. Yes, and obviously they did, and that helped a lot. So that started, and then I cannot say enough about the Crafty crew, Claudia's Craft. It has literally changed my life. Finding your crew and just being in there and being active in it, and showing what you can, what we have, and communicating and helping, and it's just I can't say enough about it. It really, if you are a new wreath maker, or even not, if you've been doing it for years and you just would like some people to really connect with, don't hesitate. what, $4, $5 a month, and really, the only reason we
It's
do that is
we
just,
say it's the cost of a coffee. But
yeah, it's
here's the
nothing.
thing, Nicole. When you joined the Crafty Crew, this wasn't on the spectrum of imagination for what we have now created and done. She was one of the first people to join in. So when we saw that Nicole wanted to grow her business, we were like, you know what? Let's see if we can do a rollout. What's your favorite season? That's how we started. And she's just like, ooh, fall and
Fall
Halloween.
Halloween.
Exactly. So that is why we are rolling out these attachments for Nicole, is because we want to celebrate her growth in her business, but we also want to show the community as a whole that a lot of us can buy the same thing and watch how different everything is going to be. Everybody's designing is different based on the designer. So we want to encourage that within the community, right?
Yes.
So, and we taught, oh my gosh, there is no holding back, guys. We are super honest with each other. We are super honest with each other. We say some hard truths and we encourage, support, and love each other right through it. Like I was called to the carpet yesterday, because I was having a bad day. I was having a rough time, and I was able to be honest with what was going on with me, and in turn was able to get the support that I needed. Nicole wants to grow her business. She wants to be making attachments. She wants to grow within the community as a whole. So we are assisting in getting her name out there so that she can be successful in what she wants to provide a meaningful income for her family. So this is what we do as a community, right? So and Jen will always say, and it saves her money. We actually were able to walk Jen through all the different things she was paying for that she didn't need to pay for. Like literally did one of these, oh my gosh, Jen, what are you doing? So we've saved Jen money. As much as we support each other's shopping habits, because guys, it's bad. When you get a bunch of wreath makers together and we're all sharing sales and ribbon and, ooh, Ferris Silk's on sale, it's like, oh, well, FOMO, I don't want to miss out on that, right? So it can be both. It can be very beneficial to have people support you where you are, keep you on task if you're not one that wants to spend money right now. But also, how helpful is it to know that you have a community of people that literally, hey, I can't find fill in the blank. I don't know where to find this. And guess what? You have a whole bunch of people now looking for you. It makes a huge difference. Huge difference. I can't tell you how many people have said, I have it in my area. Remember, we are coast to coast. So whatever we can't find here, somebody might be able to find it in their area. So that has helped out so much within this community. So, Nicole, we love having you as part of the community, and understand that we have an area in this group that says, hey, what do you want to learn? And I don't know if you recently looked, but a lot of people said, I would like to learn how to make wreath attachments.
Yeah, and I was actually going to talk to you about that. That is something that I'm actually interested in maybe doing
Okay.
class. Like I said, I have to use my
That's
own
perfectly fine.
patterns, but
But
that I
even if
have
you teach
those.
us how to make basic things like how to do the lollipops, like how to do
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fun lollipop that we can make that's easy, that would be beneficial. But these are all parts of the things that the crew does. We see a need, we fill a need. That is one of the things that we do. So as far as the time zones and not being able to watch people and have people watch you and all of that kind of stuff. There's also a flip side to that as well, where you guys and I hate to point out, but you guys on the West Coast, we have maybe 3 or 4 people that are California, Nevada, Washington. I think there's 5 of you that are basically on that coast. How do you feel when like you come into a chat and you see all of these things already happening that have been happening for a few hours that morning? Do you feel overwhelmed, or do you feel like, okay, I've got some catching up to do, or you say, forget it, I'm just gonna step in where I'm at?
I read through them and I catch up. I just like, to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Just keep up, and sometimes I'm not, obviously I don't respond to every single thing, but I try to, if I want to, there's a wreath that someone posted asking questions, or if they, or just encouragement of, oh, that looks great, good job, I mean, just even those little things really can make someone's day and make them, more confident and just be able to, move on and get to the next project. So
Right,
I try my
right.
best to be involved as much as I can. Right now I'm pretty busy, so I can't be on
Darn.
every day. I really love Discord because of the the lounges that you can go in and talk, and we can all sit here and kind of do this what we're doing right now. But there's like, 5 or 6 of us sometimes. I love trying to pop into those when I can. I do find for myself though, if I'm in there, I don't get as much work done, and it's
Well,
me. So
but
not
that's fair, right? That's fair. And what's funny is you can pop in, you
Mhm.
can share a thought, an idea, or something that's going on with you right at that time. You get the feedback that you need and you pop right back out. So it is basically whatever you need it to be. That's what I like about it too. But yeah, we get to talk like this on video chat with each other on Discord, which is something that really connects us because as much as we love everybody chatting with us while we're live, there's just a bigger connection when you can look at each other, when you can see each other's faces, when you get to know the people behind the screen. It connects you in a different way, I think, right?
And I just really
Connects you.
like, for me, a lot of it too is I like to, especially if I'm finished I'm proud of this new attachment I finished. I like to go on and, just kind of like, look, guys, I finished this.
And you
And
immediately get, woo!
I know, and I'm like,
Yep.
but that feedback right away is amazing. Pictures just don't do things justice, and seeing it, you know, on a video, and I can show you the size, and you know what I mean, and that kind of things, because pictures can be deceiving. So
And what
it's
about
nice.
when you show your support system, your family something, right? And you're
Yeah,
like, look what I made. And then they're like, oh, that's nice.
yeah,
And you're just
it's
like,
cute.
that's not the reaction I'm looking for.
You get a cute ribbon, and they're like, "Yay!" My husband's like,
You're
"Another
like,
ribbon."
I don't connect with you that way. That is not something that speaks to my soul like it speaks to yours. But coming to us and we're like, oh, where did you get that? Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. How can I order? Add to cart. I mean,
Right.
we are very dramatic. We are very dramatic because we love what we do. We love what we do. Oh, Shauna, what do you mean why is this box so heavy? She's like, why is this box so heavy? I don't know what you're referring to. I have no idea what you're referring to. I kind of missed whatever was before. Oh, the ribbon delivery.
Oh.
When we get ribbon, we share. We're like, ooh. We share SKU numbers. We share where we got it. Some of us even shop together. Like we'll get on there and be like, okay, I really like this about this ribbon. Ooh, look, it's double sided. By the way, those that buy ribbon, double sided ribbon is a win-win. We like
Hmm.
the double sided ribbon. Win-win on the double sided ribbon. All right, so let's hone it back in. What advice would you give to someone looking to start their own creative business and how to join the wreath community?
Network. Just really, really involve yourself. With social media is definitely number one right now. I mean, if you really want to connect, and that's what you need to do, then you need to be on the social medias, and you need to, but like I said before, just watching the live isn't going to connect you to people. They don't even know you're there if you're not saying something. So it's different nowadays than it was in the past, obviously, but right now it's all about, getting yourself out there, being seen. So kind of be with the people who, are the popular, not just popular, but they're like almost experts in their craft. Find those people, and that you kind of jive with. I mean, there's going to be um, certain people that you're just kind of like, that's not my cup of tea. But this person over here is just who I kind of see that we could be, even more than just coworkers or, in the same community, we can actually be friends.
Did
That's
you
what I
hear
would
her?
recommend.
Wait. That's the first time I've heard anybody refer to the community that way. Coworker. How does that set with you guys? She actually said it's like having a coworker. We're working together. So that means no competition.
Mm.
There's no competition.
I don't feel like
You
there's
don't
competition. I
know.
feel like
I
we
love
work
that.
together as a community. We help each other. We, I mean, if you're in a competition with someone else, I mean, that's just not the way I work. I want to be together and help each other and be a community. And if someone is struggling, help them. Why would you not? I don't know. It's just me.
Well, that's the thing. It's a hand up, right? We're always giving hands up. Like we can't do it for you. There's no way we can do any of this for you.
Mm-mm.
But we can answer questions
Mhm.
with you. We can figure it out together, but you have to do the work.
Yes. And just like I said, start by communicating with the people that are your inspiration. And then go from there, start creating yourself. You don't have to start out with the most expensive things. Don't go buy a ton at one time because you're gonna hurt, you're gonna waste money. So start with slow, make one, uh, get critiques from your friends. Join our Discord. We'll tell you what we recommend and what to do, and maybe get some more techniques. Watch Claudia. She has an amazing mesh technique that I think is great for beginners, and it looks amazing every single time you do it.
Well, because
So,
because because it's the fold over method, guys. It's folding over the cut sides so that you're tucking all that fray in.
mhm.
And when I figured that out from watching Wreaths of Joy with Ronnie and Zach, when they did it, it's something clicked. I was like, wait a second, what am I watching? And I need to do that. Right? So that's the type of thing we pass on. That's the type of thing we share so that you can also learn the things that are going to work for you. And the best thing to do, and this is something we all recommend every single person, you can learn from somebody. You can watch somebody. You can get inspired by somebody. If you can add your own spin on it, you will soar.
Mhm.
Copycatting is good for learning, like when you're first learning, like doing the same. But when you want to soar and be stand out, you need to come up with something that makes you stand out. You need to stand out, right? Because we all use the same stuff, guys. We all use the same
It's all
stuff.
knowledge. It's all
Yeah.
ribbon. It's all, but it definitely, yeah. So start that way is the best way. That's what I did. And if you just don't, you have to continue too. You can't just talk one time, talk one day, or just one person. I mean, you really need to spread your wings and really feel comfortable enough to put yourself out there and say, "Hey, I love this. This is what I want." And ask questions. I don't know anyone in the wreath community that wouldn't help you. I mean, obviously, if they're on live and they're making something, it's probably not a great time to be asking
Yeah.
unless they're teaching. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're
Right.
saying, "Hey, ask me a question."
Yeah.
But um, private messaging them.
But that's a good point. So if somebody's saying, "Hey, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask," that's your cue to ask. Don't call people names or say that they're rude if they're live and creating and that's not what they're doing. They're not there to teach or to share, to show. It's not gatekeeping. It's how they run their life. It's okay. Just move on. You'll find somebody that does share, teach, and do all of those things. So, and that's another thing. A few things that were said in the comments that I want to read. Like Derica's been in this business for 10 years and she still gets inspired by wreath makers. So that says a lot. And she's been in the business for a long time. Paula of Forever Bloom says, give credit. Give
Mhm.
credit to the person you got inspired from. That will get you so much more than doing just the copy.
Yes.
You know, if you got inspired by somebody, you're like, I saw these colors be put together by blank. give that person credit because that's where you saw it. Now, mind you, they learned from somewhere, obviously. You learned from somewhere. So it goes down the line. Somebody has learned from somebody else. Just pass that along. It makes you more credible, I think, too,
Mhm.
if you say, "Hey, I learned this from so and so." Now, here's a question I have for you, Miss Nicole. Would you be willing to share some of the things that you have that are coming up or might be already in your shop so people can see them? Is that going to be something that's asking too much of you right now?
I currently don't have anything I can show. They're all,
Darn.
as soon as I
I
make them,
believe
I
it.
have to ship them out.
I
Like I
believe
said, I
it.
have pre-orders that, we're all I mean, I'm working. So,
Okay.
as
See,
soon as I make it, I have to get it to
but
my
that's
customer.
exciting. Listen to what
Yeah,
she just said. I don't have anything I can show because everything I'm making is leaving my house.
it is. I'm
Congratulations.
Yes, and
That is
like I said,
fantastic
I feel
news.
so blessed and so honored and so excited, and it's just been a major blessing for me. And so, but yeah, right now, I mean, other than like I said, I have to show that little bunny because it's not Easter, but I
Look at
made
all
them.
the comments, goals,
I
clapping,
know
party hats.
it's been
Yep,
beyond. So, yeah, so right now I don't have anything to show, but I can give you some ideas. Like we were talking about the gingerbread,
yep,
peppermint.
yep.
Um, and also, they're not on Etsy yet, but I do have Mrs. Closet and Mr. Closet I've shared some pictures of. Those will be so starting the Christmas designs. As far as Halloween goes, I don't know if I'll be making any more just unless I have custom. So if you're looking for something that I don't already have on my Etsy, please message me just because I'm kind of almost getting into Christmas starting here soon. July. Christmas is July.
Are you gonna have a cutoff? Is it gonna be like, okay, this is it? Or you just gonna, if somebody
If someone
approaches
wants
you,
it, so right now I am about 4 weeks out for shipping because, like I said, I have 17 pre-orders I'm making right now. So it takes me, these attachments aren't quick to make. They do take time, especially if I'm painting. I have to wait for paint to dry. You know what I mean? Like it's the clay to dry. I mean, it's not stuff that I can control. Sometimes I have to be patient, and so
yeah.
it is, so it's about 4 weeks out right now. So if you're looking for Christmas or, I mean, Halloween, fall, you need to get them in probably by July.
The latest, right?
August would be latest. I mean,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
if you would.
So a couple of things in the comments. Nicole, what about Thanksgiving? I feel Thanksgiving gets overlooked for Christmas. Carrie, what I can say is that there's a reason that they don't make Thanksgiving specific attachments. And I would venture to say it's because Thanksgiving isn't really something that sells really well in different areas. However, and I know that I'm saying this right, if you have something in mind, reach out to somebody that makes this stuff, and I'm sure they can either say I can work something out with you, or they can say that's not what I'm led to. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Mary from Wild Zinnias have a turkey?
And I actually have a turkey design,
See?
but like I said, it's probably not something I'll list unless people are
Right.
very interested in it. But
Right.
that's why customs are great. If you're like, I really want to make a turkey, I really want to see, I can send you a picture of what I can make. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
you're going to know what it's pretty much look like. You can always choose your own colors, all that kind of stuff, but the
Right.
general design of it. And um, yeah, so definitely reach out to me on Etsy. This is great, or even Facebook Messenger. That's another way that I it's really easy to get a hold of me.
Right.
And I can, but like I said, I just don't know if that's something that I'm just gonna list on Etsy just because of selling, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But if you want a turkey, I can get you a turkey.
I can get you, it's like I can get you a turkey, but I have seen pies. I have seen
Yeah,
people rolling
pies.
out the pies. Like I think there's a cherry and an apple or cherry pumpkin pie is what I've seen. Derica said, wanted to remind you, pretty sure you committed to making a teddy instead of Freddie, a teddy.
Oh, yes, and so that's another thing. But those are something that I'm not going to just make put on my Etsy. That is would be another. Please message me a custom, just because. like I said, I don't think it's as right now I have so many pre-orders. That's what I have to um, focus on.
Yeah.
And so making new designs for my Etsy is something that I have to do in between.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah, so she's busy and it's a good thing. Like
yes, no,
remember,
I'm not complaining at all. I
she
love it.
loves,
I
yeah,
love it.
she loves the blessing. She's grateful for the blessing, but she also has to create, like she said, like upcoming things to keep her
Sure.
Etsy so that she can be successful month over month.
And Christmas, of course,
So,
is the huge,
yeah,
so I'm going to be creating a lot of Christmas designs just
right.
because that's what's coming up. Um, but as far as like Thanksgiving, like you were saying, it's just not as popular. So those are things that would be one-offs. Like if you want it, let me know.
So, question in the chat, how do you know how big to make an attachment? Is there a general rule?
Um, Not really a general rule. I would say around 15 to 18 inches is usually um what I like to make it, but you can make them small, and there's people who want multiples of smaller. So there's not really a rule, but if I'm making like the little lollipops and stuff, then I would sell them in most people buy those in like multiples. You're not just putting one lollipop usually in a design, right? So, the rule of three. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, but definitely for like just an average size, I would say that's probably pretty average. And it depends. Some of
Right.
them are just like legs, a head. You know what I mean? My patriotic one's a top hat. He had arms and legs. You know what I mean? So like it's not even a whole body. So
Right. Because the wreath then becomes the
the
body of
body.
it.
Hmm.
Right, right. That makes sense. So, we got about 20 minutes to kind of do a wrap up here, but so living in Washington State, you said that wreath attachments, stuff like that, that's not your customer base, right? That's not, I mean, do you have any sales that happen in Washington as far as like your attachments and stuff go?
Not for my attachments. Well, I've sold a couple, I mean, to like our group.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But as far as like shows or anything like that, no. Reefs, I would say mostly it's like family members, unless I want to do, I don't have any plans to do any kind of shows this year just because I'm not really focused on the wreaths right now. I'm focused more on the attachments.
right.
So most people are not going to go to a trade show and try to or a craft show and buy a wreath attachment. You know what I mean? That's not really
Right.
it. They want
But
it
you'd
on a
be
wreath.
surprised because you have had people buy like your trick-or-treaters that you made. You have had people just buy that and they're not going to put them in a wreath. They're going to put them in their shop.
Yeah, you can hang them on a door without a wreath. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
or on a wall or wherever.
Because they're
I just
flat.
don't.
The
Yeah, they're
back is
flat.
flat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're all black back flats, so they can be put in a wreath or on a
Right.
wall.
Right.
But it's just not really a big market, I think, for around
Right.
here. So if I was still continuing to make wreaths, I might do some of those shows this year for Christmas and stuff. But I decided that it's just not where I'm at right now in my career. So I'm just focusing more on the attachments this year. So yeah, so other than friends and family who have already said they want their fall and um,
Yeah.
Christmas wreaths, I'm like, okay, so that's probably where I'll be focused on is if I'm going to make wreaths is just for local friends, family here that want the wreaths this year.
So events, you know that they have big crafting events, big events where wreath makers go. Um, some are annual, some are semi-annual. Is there any desire for you to attend something like that to meet some of the people that are in the community?
I would love to. The big issue with that is another issue is living so far in the Pacific Northwest. Most of these are like on the East Coast or Midwest, Texas over. And it's expensive to get there from, I can't drive, I'd have to buy plane tickets are not cheap for if you want to go all the way to Georgia from Washington
Right,
State.
right,
And,
right,
hotels, all that kind of stuff. And, with my health, I mean, there's a lot of different things that are go into that. So I have a couple that I'd love to attend. I know Candy's crew. I don't know if you know them. They do a huge, she does huge ones in Georgia.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love like,
Listen, if you can get to me, it's 4 hours from me.
oh yeah.
Just saying.
I'm
We
saying
can,
that's one of the, I mean, it was kind of late once I learned about the TMI,
yeah. Yeah.
collab that you guys did. So I really wanted to come, but it just was going to be hard. There was some things in there, some appointments and things that I didn't want to mess up. So, it's definitely doable. I'd love to, if I can work it out, I'll be there. But,
But that's the thing. I mean, obviously it's semantics, right? So we all have to figure out some way to make it work. And I've always said, hey, I'm right outside of Nashville. If you can get to Nashville cheaper than you can get to Atlanta, it's a 4 hour drive from here to Atlanta. So, I mean, I have no problem with being that middle person, that middle ground that gets you there. I mean, not Misty. Yeah, Misty has already said, I'll get to Claudia and from there we'll go wherever. So that is the funny thing.
yeah,
Um,
Jerica just said that she's going to be
at
at
Candy's,
Candy's,
yeah. And
and she's,
Jerica goes to a lot of events.
yeah, and she's actually
Jerica does,
part of Candy's crew. She helps. So if that's another really great, I'm part of them too.
yeah.
Resource if you're, and she helps. She does attachments on there. She teaches attachments on that group. So that's
Yeah,
another.
and look, she just said, come to my house. You can drive with me. See? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm
So
telling
I,
you, where there's a will, there's a way, and where
mhm,
there's don't threaten me with a good time when I can talk about ribbon. I'm serious because a lot
yeah.
of people, even I mean, in the community, I mean, we have friends, right? We have friends that are local to us. How much can you talk about what you're doing where they're not looking blank at you? Like they don't care. They don't, and I don't, it's not anything against them. It really isn't. They just don't understand. They don't understand the ins and outs of our business. They don't understand why we have so much ribbon. How many times have I been asked, why do you have so much ribbon? I'm like, well, because it's all part of the designing. It's all part of you need to have a variety of things so that you can grab to make the design, but I might as well be talking to a brick wall. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
for sure.
and our husbands can only get so excited. They're excited when we don't ask them to make something else for us. That's my husband's excited when I don't say, well, here's the next thing that I need.
Yes.
You laugh because you know. You
Oh
laugh
yeah.
because you know.
Oh yeah.
It's true. I mean, how much do we really think that people are going to understand what only another crafter can understand?
Mhm.
Some people will see it as hoarding, where we're saying, all you got to do is just organize it a little bit and you'll probably need something. You're probably missing something you need.
Yes,
But that,
yes.
I mean, it's true. And that's why this community is so important for all of us, I believe, is that we all look to each other to feel that normalness. Like, I
Mhm.
found my people. I
Yes.
found my people. So
And
that
it's so
is why we
nice.
love we love this community. It is so
With social
nice.
media and the way that we can now talk to each other all over the, United States and even the world. I
And
mean,
beyond and beyond. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just be able to, all share with each other and know that we all have each other's backs and understand and
Oh
just,
yeah.
I mean,
We're like, okay, so this is how much it costs to ship from me to there. This is how much it costs to
mm,
ship from there to there. And destashing. At one time you bought a whole bunch of stuff that you now have just sitting. Who are you
yeah,
going to sell it to? You're not
yeah,
going to sell it in a yard sale and make a fraction of what you paid for it. But if you destash it and gift it to other people that will use it, that feels a lot better to me.
yes,
That
yes.
feels a lot better. There was a question in the chat that as an attachment maker, they feel like the ribbon you need is different, smaller, non-wired. So these are things that you have to look for,
Yes.
right?
Trims is basically what they're
Right.
called. And I do, yeah. Hobby Lobby, thank goodness, has a clearance on a lot of their trim right now, so I went a little crazy. But you need to have a lot of variety, different colors, different, just like you do with wreath making, because you're gonna need to that's what you mostly use. But don't think that I'm not part of the luxury loop with Stair Silk, which I don't need because I don't. But you know what? I need it. Okay. um,
Touch it. Just to touch it.
I just want it.
I have
Um,
an appreciation for the wire, okay?
so
That is
yeah,
hilarious.
but definitely it's a different type of, you need a lot more supplies, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
you do.
as a attachment maker than you do
You do.
as a wreath maker. Because a wreath maker is what you need: florals, you need ribbon, you need your bases, but they're kind of big categories. Like there's a lot you can get, but
Yeah.
as an attachment maker, I need all the different types of fabrics, all the different types of trims, all the different types of, like, we use foam boards and different clays. I have to have, so all the colors of clay to be able to, make the attachments. And so it is a lot more little things that you need to.
How do you organize your stuff currently?
Well, thank goodness in my home right now I have a craft room, and it's a pretty large room.
Right.
And it has, like, the closet, I swear, is the hugest closet. It's giant. And so I have the ribbon shelves, and so they're like the shoe shelves. I got my ribbon on, but the trims don't really fit on that because they're
No, they don't.
smaller. So
That's
I
why
have,
I asked.
yeah, I have buckets of trim right now. It's probably not the best organization. I need to figure out. I really want, I have hubby to-do list, to have some kind of like a spool so I can put the ribbon on like a dowel,
Yep.
or the trim, you know what I mean, and have just them all, and I can kind of organize it that way. That's my goal.
Yeah.
As of right now, they're just kind of in buckets because I just go through. I
Well,
have color
but it's
buckets.
figuring it out too. So a question is, like, where do you shop for your supplies? Like, where do you go to get your stuff?
So for depending, like, so for fur, let's say for the monster, right now the main place I do is Amazon, because or online, because they have all the colors of fur.
Right.
Locally, we do have a Hobby Lobby, so I do a lot of Hobby Lobby, as far as, because it's not the same, because the trim, they're fine at hobby, they're great at Hobby Lobby.
Right.
It's different than a wired ribbon, right? Or a mesh. And so that they have a lot of fabric that I use from Hobby Lobbies, and also Joann's, the fabric from Joann's, those kind of things. I use wire, I use just a ton of little felt, all of these different types of materials. And then we also have what's called a craft warehouse. It's another local crafting thing that has similar things. So yeah, those are the three main local ones. But if I need something like specific furs and that kind of thing, then I do have to order them online, just because they don't sell them locally
So
from us.
let's say I live in a really remote area where Joann Fabrics, Hobby Lobby, places like that aren't local to me, but I do have a Walmart that has a whole like fabric section and sewing section. I would say anywhere that has anything that they offer for sewing, for create like that, you can find trims. You can even find some fabrics that you can use
I buy fabric
for
at
attachments,
Walmart.
right?
Fabric's fabric. I mean, obviously there's more, better fabric out there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
but what
for
I'm saying is
attachments,
if you're starting to learn, you
yeah,
don't have to
it doesn't have
like
to be quality.
yeah, you don't have to worry about like getting the top end quality fabrics and furs because I've seen like many levels. Let's just use the Highland cow for an example because there's if you look online to see attachments for Highland cows, you'll see a vast variety of different looking cows.
Hmm.
They'll look very different all over the place, right? And it's because people are using what they have or what they can find as far as the fur, the fabric, right?
Yes.
That's what I see is
I
the big difference.
Fur is there's definitely good fur and bad fur. So that's a
Good
little bit
fur and
more
bad fur.
well,
Yeah.
just better quality
Yeah.
fur, and so it's going to look a little bit different, you know. But as far as like fabrics go, cotton fabric is cotton fabric. I mean, really, whether you get it at Walmart or you get it at Joann's, it's just the variety. Obviously Joann's is just going to have more variety in different types, colors and variety. So those type of things are. But if you don't have one local, then my recommendation is to go online. That's what's nice about our day and time. Go online to Joann's. They have amazing sales on. They sometimes have better deals online than they do in
They
stores.
say sometimes they do. Now, when you go to the store, do they honor the online? Do they honor the online price for stuff?
Most of the time, no, they have their own in-store specials and such.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like in-store coupons. So you have to, and I'm a couponer. If they have a coupon for it, I'm using it. So that's another thing that
Use
I do
those
pay attention to.
coupons.
Yeah, I just
Use
that's what
those
I pay
coupons.
attention to it. If I get an email or whatever, I look at that and I say, oh, this is going to be 50% off their first 50%, or
That's huge.
I'm gonna go and yeah,
Yeah,
and just
you're gonna buy that fur.
yeah, because
You're
I
gonna
know I'm
buy
gonna
that
use it,
fur.
and it's definitely it's just like if you're having selling the ribbon, you're like, yeah. So
All right, so we already heard what your future plans are. Your future plans are to be creating your own patterns, to then be able to teach your patterns, to then be able to sell your patterns. That is going to be what the high end goal is. Is there any particular goal you have for this year?
um for this year, it's to continue to roll out new patterns and new I mean not new, but new designs on Etsy. Um and get just continue with my custom orders and get as much as I can and help create as much as I can and just get as much new designs as I can out, especially for Christmas.
Right.
That's what the rest of the year is going to look like for me. And then, try to get these custom orders to everyone and have everyone just keep learning,
Yeah.
keep
Love.
building,
Yeah.
keep making better and better and getting better at making
All
these.
the things, all the
Yes.
things.
Like Derek said, $50 a yard for fur. That's how much it is at Joann's.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can imagine, that's why if it's 50% off, we're like, run. So,
Right. And that's part of and that's also part of being connected in the community, guys. You have
mhm.
other people that are doing the same thing that you're doing that can share these kind of things with you. Like if they find out that there is a sale or they find a coupon that you know that these are the things that you need in order to continue your journey so that you are getting the deals as well. You know what I mean? So this is why being involved or having a crafty friend is so important. I mean, I have found that not only does it grow me, but it also pushes me. Like it gets me to the next level because now I'm accountable. I'm accountable. I've told people what I want to do.
Mhm.
Wink, wink, Miss Nicole. Now that you've shared with everybody what you want to do, but being accountable to that goal, like you're going to be asked about it. So, are you taking steps for that next goal? You know, are you doing the things that you need to be doing to get to that goal sooner? That's all very important, and that's why we encourage you to be connected within a community, no matter what that community is. All right, so here's the last question that I'm going to ask. For this real talk today. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or acknowledge for their support in your journey?
Oh, definitely. Wow, everybody knows. um, Now, obviously, there's probably more people I'm gonna forget, and please don't be offended if I don't name you, but there's been so many people that have just really touched me and helped me. But I want to thank you, Claudia, first. Your crew and just how giving and just how much you are involved with all of us in the crew is beyond helpful and just a big blessing to us, all of us. Also, Lindsay and Courtney, so Lindsay's Tarnation Creations and Courtney from Southern Owls have been a big, big inspiration to me. They've always been so kind. They've always just actually been friends. They really are just great people, all in all, and they always want to help and always want to encourage, and they are amazing at what they do, obviously. And so, yeah, it's just a big help. Derica from Derica's Design, she was one of my first people that I made her attachments and has been a real inspiration to me. So and having her join the crew, I was like a kid. I was so excited. You should have seen me. I was like jumping up and down.
He
And,
was.
and, and just, and everyone who's purchased and gave me a chance, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can, and I have always, and I always want to help, and I always want to um, try to make custom orders and do exactly what you need and help out your business as much as you're helping me. So,
And that's the whole thing though, is remembering that we are all in this together. We are all in this together, and knowing that you have other people that truly are in your corner and that are going to definitely support you and get you through those hard bumps, because guys, this isn't easy. Nothing about this is easy. But when you have people that are truly supporting you, it kind of seems easy. It's easier, I would say. So here's the fun thing, okay? So you are going to be able to meet a handful of us here shortly.
Okay, I'm so
Talk
excited.
about last minute. Talk about jumping and saying, we're doing this. Several of us last year planned a cruise for this summer. We are all going on a cruise. Several of us are going on a cruise this summer in July out of Galveston. Nicole is joining us with her husband. So we get to meet Nicole and her husband in July, and we can't wait. We're so super excited. So I'm just gonna tease you a little bit here, but Nicole's like, "Oh, you guys like card games? Let's bring card games for the cruise." And I'm thinking to myself, "Girl, this ship is so big. We're gonna have so much already going on. But let me tell you, we can go meet and play some of the ship games and actually get like win prizes. Let's go win some prizes from the ship." But it's gonna be super, super, super exciting that we get to be in the same area,
Yes.
breathing the same air, going to Mexico together. So, like I said, important to be part of a community. It's huge. And then Derica said, remember, as you grow, be yourself.
I love
And
that.
if you don't understand what that means, guys, people can see through you. Be
Mhm.
authentic to yourself. Some people aren't going to like you. Be comfortable with that. Be so very comfortable with that. We are not supposed to be everybody's cup of tea. You will find your people, you will find your support, and you will find your watchers. People will watch you. People will watch you and join you on this journey. So, Nicole, that's it for our time, friend.
Yay, that went by so quick. Wow.
I was going to say, did it feel like 2 hours?
No. I was like, what are we going to talk about for 2 hours? But wow.
All the things. We're going to talk about all the things. And again, if anybody wants to join for Real Talk, just reach out to me. I would be happy to have you join me to share in your journey. And these do get posted to YouTube. So now it becomes an interview that you have had, and you can promote yourself that way. People that want to to know about Nicole can come watch over here and get to know all the things that she has to offer. So, Nicole, thank you again for joining me. And everybody, thank you for taking time out of your day and joining us here. And we will see you on TikTok and Etsy and all the places. Nicole, thanks again. I'll see you
Thank
later,
you.
friend.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.